Your manager walks over to your desk and says, "We have a problem. The client is on hold right now and they are not happy. I need you to handle this call." Your heart is pounding. Your mind goes blank. You know what you want to say in your own language, but in English, nothing comes out. That moment right there, that is the moment we are preparing you for today. Welcome to Next Level English, the podcast that turns your English into your superpower. I am your host, Maya, and joining me as always is Tom.
Hey everyone, so glad you are here with us today. And Maya, that scenario gave me chills, honestly, because that is such a real moment. So many of our listeners work in English-speaking environments, and high-pressure situations do not wait for you to be ready. They just arrive.
They absolutely just arrive. And what separates confident English speakers from struggling ones in those moments is not grammar, it is not vocabulary lists, it is having the right chunks and sentences already loaded in your brain so that when the pressure hits, the language just flows out automatically. That is what today is about.
So today we are going deep into one of the most important real-world English skills there is, handling high-pressure situations. We are going to give you the exact language, the exact chunks, the exact vocabulary you need to stay calm, sound professional, and take control when things get intense.
And we're going to do it the next level English way. Real examples, real repetition, real conversations. Let us start at the very beginning. High pressure situations in professional English often start with one thing: receiving bad news or a sudden problem. And the very first skill is how you respond in that first second, not after you've had time to think, that very first second.
And this is where so many people make a mistake. They either panic and say too much, or they freeze and say nothing. What you need is a holding phrase, a phrase that buys you a moment to think while still sounding completely in control. And the chunk we love for this is, "Let me make sure I understand the situation." Say that again with me. Let me make sure I understand the situation. One more time. Let me make sure I understand the situation.
That phrase does so much work. It tells the other person you are engaged, you are serious, and you are not going to react emotionally. It gives you 3 to 5 seconds to breathe and collect your thoughts, and it makes you sound measured and professional even when your heart is racing. Let me make sure I understand the situation. If you learn nothing else today, learn that chunk.
Now, once you have used that holding phrase and you have gathered your thoughts, the next step is to ask a clarifying question. In high-pressure situations, acting on incomplete information is dangerous. So the vocabulary we want to focus on here is the word clarify. C-L-A-R-I-F-Y. Clarify. In the sentence that goes with it, could you clarify what has happened so far? Could you clarify what has happened so far? Say it one more time in your mind. Could you clarify what has happened so far?
And the reason we love clarify over something like explain is that clarify sounds more professional and more collaborative. When you say, "Could you explain?" it can sometimes sound like you are blaming the other person for being unclear. But "could you clarify" sounds like you are working together toward understanding. It's a small word choice, but in professional English, small word choices carry big weight.
Let me give a full example of how these two pieces work together. Imagine your colleague rushes over and says, "The system crashed and the client cannot access their account." You do not panic. You say, "Let me make sure I understand the situation. Could you clarify when this started and whether the client has already been contacted?" See how calm that sounds? You use the holding phrase and immediately followed with a clarifying question. That combination right there is the foundation of high-pressure communication.
Now let's move to the next stage. You understand the problem. Now you have to communicate to someone, whether that's a client, a manager, or a colleague, that you are taking ownership of the situation. And this is where a lot of learners really struggle, because in many cultures, taking ownership of a problem can feel like admitting fault. But in professional English, taking ownership is actually a sign of leadership.
And the phrase that signals ownership in English, the phrase that immediately tells the other person you are on it is, I will take care of this. I will take care of this. 3 words that carry enormous professional weight. I will take care of this. But notice it only works if it's followed by action. So the full sentence we want you to learn is, I will take care of this. Here's what I'm going to do. I will take care of this. Here's what I'm going to do. Repeat that. I will take care of this. Here's what I'm going to do.
That second sentence, here's what I'm going to do, is incredibly powerful because it moves the conversation from the problem into the solution. You're not stuck in what went wrong. You're already looking at what comes next. That energy shift is something people feel even over the phone or in an email. It's the energy of someone who's in control.
And I want to add a vocabulary item here that's gold in high-pressure professional English. The word is prioritize. 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 When things go wrong, there are often multiple things happening at once, and the person who can calmly say, let me prioritize the most urgent issue first, immediately sounds like the most capable person in the room.
So a full sentence might sound like this. I understand there are several things we need to address. Let me prioritize the most urgent issue first, and then we will work through the rest. Let me prioritize the most urgent issue first. Say that once more. Let me prioritize the most urgent issue first. That sentence tells people you are strategic. You are not running around in circles. You have a plan.
Now, let us talk about a very specific kind of high-pressure situation that our listeners face a lot: dealing with an unhappy or frustrated person. A client who is upset, a manager who is disappointed, a colleague who is frustrated. This is emotionally difficult, even in your own language. In English, it requires very specific tools.
The first thing you need to do with an upset person is acknowledge their feelings before you jump to solutions. In English, there is a chunk that does this perfectly, and the chunk is, I completely understand your frustration. Pause. I completely understand your frustration. And again, I completely understand your frustration. Notice the word completely. It is not, I understand your frustration. It is, I completely understand your frustration. That one extra word shows full empathy. It lands very differently.
And here's what you need to know about this phrase. You are not saying the person is right. You're not agreeing that a mistake was made. You're simply acknowledging how they feel. In professional English, acknowledging feelings is the fastest way to de-escalate tension. Once the other person feels heard, they become much more open to solutions.
So if a client calls and they are upset, you might say, I completely understand your frustration, and I want you to know that resolving this for you is my top priority right now. Pause. Say the key chunk. I completely understand your frustration, and pair it with, resolving this for you is my top priority right now. That combination is professional, empathetic, and action-oriented all at once.
Now, there's another situation that comes up in high-pressure moments. You need to tell someone that something cannot be done or that there's going to be a delay. This is the situation where people often lose confidence in their English because they're afraid of the reaction. They try to soften it so much that the message gets lost, or they say it so bluntly that the relationship gets damaged.
The sentence structure that threads that needle perfectly in professional English is, I want to be transparent with you about where we are. Pause. I want to be transparent with you about where we are. One more time. I want to be transparent with you about where we are. The word transparent is key here. It signals honesty and respect. It tells the other person, I'm not hiding anything from you. I'm bringing you the real picture.
So you might say, I want to be transparent with you about where we are. We are experiencing a delay, and the new timeline is going to be Friday instead of Wednesday. I know that is not what you are hoping to hear, and I want to walk you through exactly what we are doing to make sure Friday is a firm deadline. That's honest, that's respectful, and it immediately follows the bad news with a commitment. That is world-class professional communication.
Oh, Tom, let us talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough in English, and that is the language of staying calm out loud. Because in high pressure situations, sometimes you need to manage not just the other person's emotions, but your own. And there are phrases in professional English that help you do that publicly. They slow the conversation down, they reset the energy.
Yes, and the phrase for this is, let's take a step back for a moment. Let's take a step back for a moment. Say it again. Let's take a step back for a moment. This phrase invites everyone in the conversation to pause. It's often used in meetings or calls where things are getting heated. It doesn't shut anyone down, it just resets the room.
You might say, I hear there are a lot of concerns here. Let us take a step back for a moment and look at the core issue. Pause. Let us take a step back for a moment and look at the core issue. That sentence controls the entire direction of the conversation. You're not dismissing anyone, you're not arguing, you're steering.
And paired with that, we have a vocabulary word that is essential for high-pressure professional conversations. The word is actionable. 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 Something that is actionable is something you can actually do something about. So instead of getting lost in a long discussion of everything that went wrong, you can say, let's focus on what is actionable right now. Pause. Let's focus on what is actionable right now. Pause. That one single word immediately moves the conversation from the past into the future, from the problem into the solution. It's one of the most powerful single words in professional English.
Let us now bring everything together with a full scenario, a real conversation. Tom, you're the frustrated client. I'm the account manager receiving your call.
Perfect. Hello, I've been waiting 3 days for an update on my order and nobody has gotten back to me. This is completely unacceptable.
Thank you for calling. I completely understand your frustration, and I want you to know that resolving this for you is my top priority right now. Let me make sure I understand the situation. Could you clarify your order number so I can pull up the details immediately?
It's order number 4471. I placed it on Monday and I was told it would ship Wednesday.
I have your order here. I want to be transparent with you about where we are. There was a delay on our end, and I'm sorry that no one communicated this to you sooner. That should not have happened. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to escalate this right now and confirm a shipping date within the next 2 hours. I will personally call you back with that confirmation.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I just needed someone to actually take responsibility.
Absolutely, and I will take care of this. You'll hear from me before end of day.
And scene. Maya, that was so smooth. And what I love about that conversation is that every phrase we taught today appeared naturally. It didn't sound scripted. It sounded human and professional at the same time.
And that's the goal. These chunks and sentences become part of how you naturally speak when you practice them enough. So let's do our review, because repetition is how the brain locks things in.
The first chunk was, let me make sure I understand the situation. Your holding phrase, your first 5 seconds of calm. Let me make sure I understand the situation. Use it every time you need a moment to think.
The second was the vocabulary word clarify in the sentence, could you clarify what has happened so far? Pause. Could you clarify what has happened so far? Sounds collaborative, sounds professional, gets you the information you need.
Third, I will take care of this. Here's what I'm going to do. The ownership phrase, the leadership sentence. I will take care of this. Here's what I'm going to do. That sentence alone changes how people see you.
Fourth, let me prioritize the most urgent issue first. Strategic, calm, in control. Let me prioritize the most urgent issue first. Pause. Say it one more time. Let me prioritize the most urgent issue first.
Fifth, I completely understand your frustration. The empathy phrase. Not just I understand, I completely understand your frustration. That word completely is doing important work. Don't leave it out.
Sixth, I want to be transparent with you about where we are. The honesty sentence, the one that builds trust even when the news is difficult. I want to be transparent with you about where we are.
Seventh, let's take a step back for a moment. The reset phrase, the sentence that slows down a heated conversation and gives everyone room to breathe. Let's take a step back for a moment. Pause. Let's take a step back for a moment.
And the vocabulary word of the episode, actionable. Let us focus on what is actionable right now. That single word moves every conversation forward. Actionable. Make it part of your professional vocabulary starting today.
And I want to add one final thought before we close. Handling high-pressure situations well in English is not about being perfect. It's not about never making a mistake or never stumbling on a word. It's about having a structure, having a set of phrases that anchor you when everything else feels chaotic. Because when your language is stable, your thinking becomes stable too.
That's such a beautiful way to put it, Tom. Your language becomes your anchor. And that's what we're building here at Next Level English. Not just a vocabulary list, not just a grammar rule. We're building your anchor, the language that holds you steady when the pressure rises.
So here's your homework this week. Pick one situation from your job or your life where you normally feel pressure. Maybe it's a difficult phone call, a tense meeting, or a moment when things go wrong unexpectedly. And write out how you would handle it using the phrases from today. Actually write the sentences, say them out loud, record yourself if you can. The more you practice these in a low-pressure moment, the more naturally they will come in a high-pressure one.
And share this episode with someone you know who's working in a professional English environment. One share can completely change someone's confidence. That's the power of this community.
If you loved today's episode, follow Next Level English wherever you listen to podcasts. We drop a new episode every week, and every episode gives you the real-world English tools that textbooks never taught you.
I'm Maya.
And I'm Tom.
And this has been Next Level English. See you in the next episode. Keep practicing, keep growing, and remember, the most fluent person in the room is not the one who never feels pressure. It's the one who has the language to handle it. That person can be you.